Paul Davies lavora per Double Negative, principale fornitore europeo di effetti visivi per cinema. Paul è stato supervisore degli effetti visivi di Iron Man 2.
The role of visual effects changes actually not drastically as the films change. There's always a need for more for less time and less money. And it's always a matter of leveraging what you've learned from your previous successes and failures and trying to figure out how to apply as much of that as possible to the new challenges while figuring out the new challenges. I can tell you about the creation of the Monaco Sequence from Iron Man 2, that it was very challenging. We were very fortunate because as first-time vendors with Marvel, they extended us quite a bit of leeway and gave us a lot of trust. We were able to collaborate with them and their VFX Supervisor, Yannick Sirs, to generate what was challenging but ultimately quite noteworthy sequence for the film. I think the biggest difficulties we had to face with realizing the visual effects for Iron Man 2's Monaco sequence were trying to get a believable deployment of the Iron Man armor, the Mark V armor, from his suitcase. That was definitely a big challenge. As well as coming up with a compelling battle between Iron Man and Whiplash, when Whiplash is a man in an exoskeleton versus what we know Iron Man to be is capable of fighting a tank. So there were a lot of challenges within that, and then we had to add on top of that creating a majority of digital work for the race sequence that went around that, including all digital race cars. The main differences for realizing visual effects for different media, the biggest difference is scale. How much time you have, how much money you have, and how many resources you have. Typically for television, you have very little. You have to do quite a bit with very little. Fortunately, usually, the task is not quite as unsurmountable as it tends to be with film. With film, you have a higher resolution, you have a more dedicated audience, and what I mean by that is that someone has paid money to come out and see what you're doing, and they're seeing it usually up on a large screen. So it has a different focus, but both are very challenging and have different demands and require you to stay on your toes.